Okay, if you have already done this, of course, you are just marking your work. But since I'm looking around and seeing a lot of blank sheets, I imagine most people will be taking this down as notes. That is fine too. This question here differs from what we have been doing in the past in this unit because this says evaluate, which means you are given a choice. You can either plug these numbers, these in at the beginning, or at the end. Now, up until this question, we have been doing a process called simplifying, yes? What is the root word of simplify? Simple, yeah? So if we simplify, then our work becomes more simple. So let's simplify first. That is the smarter move. Always simplify. So if I was going to simplify, I need to look at this question here and I need to realize what this means. What math is happening right there? Multiply. So I have x to the 3 halves, and it is multiplying by x to the 1/2, isn't it? Right? And I have y to the 2, which is multiplying by y to the -1, yes? What do you notice about these? They're the same base, which means there's a rule about it, isn't there? That rule says we can add the exponents, yes? So instead of having 2 fractions, we really have x to the 3 halves plus 1/2. What is 3 halves and then 1 more half? 4 halves. But 4 halves is really 2. So what I really have is x squared, don't I? All those fractions disappeared when I simplified. What about this side? Are these the same? So I can do what with the exponents? Add them. That is y to the 2 plus -1, which is the same as y to the 2 minus 1, which is the same as y to the 1. Do we ever write 1 as an exponent? No. So what we are really simplifying is that, which is x squared times y. What is x? -2. -2 squared times y. What is y? 3. What is -2 squared? 4 times 3, 12. All done in your head, even though we started with fractions. Okay? Okay. Let's look at 12, because it's ugly. What should we do first? It starts with an S. It ends with a Y. It has implif in the middle of it. Simplify. So, where can we do that? Kirsten has whispered quietly we should start inside the brackets. I agree with her completely. Where should we start inside the brackets? Why did you say brackets? What math hint made you go to the brackets? Bed mass. So we have taken care of the B, brackets. What is the E? Exponent. So we should deal with the exponents inside the brackets first, shouldn't we? What about that one right there? What do I do over brackets? Multiply. Now, what does this mean? That means I'm going to have the base of -x. How many times? 12. If a negative repeats an even amount of times, what do I get? A positive. So what is going to happen to this negative x to the 12th? It's really positive x to the 12th, isn't it? Does everyone agree? So here I have x to the 12th. What's this guy? X to the 4th. What math is happening right there? Multiply. So what I have is x to the 12th and x to the 4th. What do I do with those exponents? Add them. So I have x to the 16th, don't I? That's inside the brackets. What is happening outside the brackets? It's to the 3rd. So what do I have to do there? So what do I get? 16 times 3, which is what? $48. I now have only one exponent and one letter. Is this easier to deal with than this? Of course it is. So what do I put in for x now? -2. And I need to get it to the 48th. Do you think your calculator will be able to do that? That's 2 times 2 times 2, 48 times. Let's see. Bracket. Bracket, -2. Why did I do a brackets there? I got to keep the negative as part of the base, isn't it? And what is my exponent? 48. My calculator will do it. That's really hard to read, but what that means, E14, that means that decimal place is going to move this way. How many times? 14 times. Pretty big number, yeah? But that's how you do it. Any questions? Which -2? Right there where it says x equals -2. Okay? Okay. Is everybody good? All right. So now we move on to number 13, which has some algebra. A sphere has that volume. What is the radius of the sphere? None of you are going to remember the formula for volume of a sphere, but fortunately you get your data booklet all the time. It is 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. What there is unknown? Just the radius. So what do I write here for V? 425 equals 4 pi r cubed over 3. Now, what is my job every time I have an algebraic expression with an unknown? Isolate that, which means I have to start as far away from that as possible and get it by itself, yes? What would you say is the furthest thing possible from that r? I would say it's the 3. What math do we see? Right here. What math is happening that we can see? Division. I need to reverse that, so what do? Multiply. If I multiply this side by 3, what do I have to do to this side? The same thing. So the 3's cancel, and I'm left with 4 pi r cubed, right? And this side is 1,1275, yeah? Right? Most of you probably use calculator. That's cool. Now, what's in the way of r being by itself now? 4 times pi times r. So what do I do to get rid of times 4 and times pi? Divide by 4 and divide by pi. Gone, gone. What do I do to this side? 4 pi. Now here's where you're going to get into trouble, because many of you still do not know how to do that on your calculator. To do this on your calculator, you must put brackets there, or your calculator will not do what you want it to do. If you do not put your brackets there, your calculator is going to give you the wrong answer. Now, before you even punch in anything to your calculator, what should you do? What have I told you to do every time before you ever touch your calculator? What's the answer to this question? It's whatever your calculator is going to tell you, right? What if your calculator tells you totally the wrong answer? What are you going to write down? Whatever's on the screen of your calculator. And what are you going to say to me when I say, how could this possibly be your answer? You're going to say, the calculator said so. Aren't you? What is pi close to? 3. What is 4 times 3? 12. This is 1200 divided by 12, which is pretty close to 100, yes? Agreed? So this side, when I punch into my calculator, had better come out close to 100, yes? Before I even touch it. Now go to your calculator, make sure you can get the right answer, which of course is 1275 divided by bracket 4 pi. 101.46. Is that pretty close to 100? So did I get the right answer? How many of you still are not doing this step? All of you. How many of you should be doing this step? All of you. So I got 101.46 equals r cubed, yes? Right? All of you should have that on your calculator now, yeah? How do I get rid of this r cubed? When it was r squared, we did the square root, yes? So if it's r cubed, we must do the cubed root. And again, this depends on your calculator. A lot of your calculators have a cube root button. Some of them don't. Look now and find it. But you need the cube root of 101. And again, it doesn't hurt to have a guess. The cube root of 125 is 5, yes? 101 is a little less than 125. So your calculator better give you an answer of a little less than 5, right? Then you'll know you've done it right. What is the answer? For my calculator, I have to hit math, cube root. There, it's written right there. 101.46. 4.66. So R equals 4.66. Could everyone do it? Okay. Look at the next one. A cone with equal height and radius. So what does that mean? R equals H. Yes? And it's got a volume of 18. Now, I know many of you aren't going to remember volume formula, but that's okay because you're going to get your data booklet. The volume of a cone equals pi r squared, right? Times the height divided by 3. What do I know about R and H in this question? They're the same. So isn't this really pi r squared times r, again, over 3? Okay. R squared and r to the what? 1 gives me what? R cubed. So pi r cubed divided by 3 equals volume. This you should already know how to do. Whether you have never seen it or not, that is algebra. All I did was stuff you already know. I just didn't have numbers for it, right? Now this looks a lot like what I just did, yes? What goes in for V? 18, because it says right there. 18 equals pi r cubed divided by 3. Now, I don't want to talk for a minute. This, by now, you should be able to figure out. What are you going to do first? Multiply by what? Go ahead. Make it happen. Now what do you got to get rid of? Pi. That's about 3, isn't it? 54 is all... 60 is good enough, yeah? 60 divided by 3 is what? 20. So when you do this math, you should get an answer of close to what? 20. Then you go to your calculator and do it. 54 divided by pi, whatever it is. 17.18. I'm happy with that because 54 is a ways from 60, yes? Right? Now, cubed root of 17. If you've been paying attention, you know that the cube roots, there's a cube at 27, and there's a cube at 8, yes? 2 times 2 times 2, and 3 times 3 times 3. Is 17 between 8 and 27? Yes. So this answer had better be between 2 and 3, yes? So if I punch this into my calculator and I get anything that is not between 2 and 3, should I write it down? No. What's the answer? 2.578. I don't care. If you get that far, I'm turning cartwheels. All right? Okay. Now listen to me. There's nothing more in this unit. The page for you guys that you need to be mostly concerned with for what is going to be on your next quiz, or test, is page 82, 83, and 86. That's your info. You are going to do work out of your blue book. Actually, you're going to do quite a bit of work with exponents. Out of your blue book, you are going to do You know, I went to the circus. I enjoyed it. I found it to be intense. My fingers are hurt. I can't bend this one. That's what I think about you guys not laughing at my jokes. You're going to do page 227. The answers are on the next page. You're going to do page 233. The answers are on that page. And now you all think this is going to happen overnight, but it's not. You're going to do page 241 in your blue book. But you are also going to do page 90 to 91 in your pink book. And all of that is going to be due at the end of tomorrow's class. Yes, that's what I mean. There is nothing new anymore. There is no new thing for exponents. But all of you need more practice. Okay? So you have the rest of this period to work on. If I were you guys, I would do this page last. I would do my blue book work first because the answers are in the book. Do you understand? So the first thing I would do is 227, 233, and 241. Okay? Everybody cool? Okay, now, some of you, I'm sure, have already forgotten some of these rules here. So to find them out, remember, you can find them by looking at page 82, 83, and 86 in your pink book. That has all the information to do all the problems in the blue book. Okay? You have slightly under an hour today and all 80 minutes tomorrow, plus homework time tonight and homework time tomorrow night. Oh no, what am I saying? Homework time tonight. Because we are going to go over these tomorrow. All right? Wednesday, I'm going to give you your final review, and then we'll be done the unit. Okay? Since this is a short week, I don't know if we'll be able to get a test in there. But then you've got a 4-day weekend, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I cannot decide. We will have to cross that bridge when we come to it. Depending on how tomorrow and Wednesday go, we might be able to have our exponents test on Thursday. Because really, there's not that much to it, is there? Add, multiply, subtract, negatives flip, fractions become roots. 4 things, right? So we'll see how today and tomorrow go, and Wednesday before I decide about Thursday. Okay? Okay.
Do we do all of these or only the circled ones?
On page 90 and 91, you only have to do the circled ones. Unless, of course, you want extra practice. Is everybody good?